Hey everyone, thank you for joining me on another episode of Brooklyn Baritone Podcast and Productions. It's always a beautiful day, but whenever you choose to join me, morning, afternoon, evening, nighttime, late at night, it doesn't matter. I appreciate you. Of course, I'll always appreciate you hitting the like and subscription button if you want to. I'm not forcing you, no pressure whatsoever. I'm going to get right into it. Imagine someone getting kidnapped, very forcibly, very violently. Now, while in captivity, this person is tortured by their captors. They're abused in many different ways by their captors. They're forced to do all types of hard labor by their captors. They're even sexually abused by their captors. There's no one to help them. No help in sight. There's no help at all for this person. Say this goes on for this person for 10 years. Then they're let go. After 10 years of their captors doing whatever they will on this person, sadistic things, wicked things, evil things, they're let go. But once they're let go, as much damage as this person can conceive has gone through, they don't receive any kind of assistance whatsoever for the physical damage that's been done to them, the psychological, mental damage that's been done to them, the spiritual damage that's been done to them. Emotionally broken. But instead of even coming across any kind of help, any kind of proper recognition that you've been wronged, they actually get ridiculed even more, even face mockery for the abuse that everyone knows that they have gone through. Do you think this person will be able to function regularly? Even when they have times where they try to stand up and get up, it's just that people just not willing to help them. Do it on your own. You probably put yourself in that position. Now, what if this happened to a specific group of people, as opposed to one person? What if this happened to a specific group of people? How do you think people's psyche, they all going through trauma, and they've going to have different ranges of reactions. Unfortunately, a lot of things are going to be negatively impacting them. How do you think this ordeal will affect them? Well, there's a reason why I'm taking this route and speaking about this. Because I understand that there's always seems to be an ages-long discussion about identifying people who's gone through trauma and actually identifying means to actually address it properly the way it should. Now, the people that I'm talking about here, they could be found very much so in the book. I'm about to read a couple scriptures. I'm going to keep it very brief. I'm going to keep it extremely brief. The people who went through this are positively identified in the book under Deuteronomy. I'm going to start here with Deuteronomy 28. This is verse 15. This is Moses talking to the Israelites. This is prophetic. This is what's going to happen when they do not revere Yahuwah Almighty the way it's supposed to. And it shall be, if you do not obey the voice of Yah your Elohim to guard to do all his commands and his laws which I command you today, that all these curses shall come upon you and overtake you. Now I'm going to go through some of the important curses. All of them are there. I'm not going to go through all of them, again, for the sake of brevity, because I don't want it to drag on any more than I want it to. I don't want it to be too long of a video. If you're still here, hang on with me. These are some of the actual curses that actually have happened, and it is identified by a certain group of people who have gone through this historically. Your sons and your daughters are given to another people, and your eyes look and feel for them all day long, and your hand powerless. A people whom you have not known eat the fruit of your land and all your labors, and you shall be only oppressed and crushed all the days. Means your kids are going to be taken away from you, and you can't do anything about them. Let's jump at another one. This is verse 36. Yahuwah brings you and a sovereign king, whom you appoint over you to a nation, either king, ruler, whoever, which neither you nor your fathers have known, and there you shall serve other mighty ones, wood and stone. These are things that they pray to, you're going to pray to, you're going to follow, you're going to praise their ways. Thus you shall become an astonishment, a proverb, and a mockery among all the people to which Yah drives you to. You're going to be a spectacle. You're always going to be made mockery of. People are always going to make sure you are the butt of jokes, that you are always the point of shame and ridicule. Reading verse 43. The sojourner, stranger, who is among you rises higher and higher above you, but you come down lower and lower. He lends to you, but you do not lend to him. He is the head and you are the tail. Means you're not going to have any social or economic power. It's always going to be other people appointed over you, because this is part of the curses. All these curses shall come upon you, and they shall pursue and overtake you until you are destroyed, because you did not obey the voice of Yah your Elohim to guard his commands, his laws, in which he commanded you. The last one I'm going to read, hang on with me. And Yah shall scatter you among all peoples, from one end to the earth to the other, and there you shall serve other mighty ones, which neither you nor your fathers have known, wood and stone, as said before. And among those nations you are to find no rest, nor have a resting place for the sole of your foot, but there Yah shall give you a trembling heart, and failing eyes, and sorrow of being. This is what Moshe said to the Israelites. This is what's going to happen when you do not follow Yahuwah. In a brief little history, you could look this up. Late 1400s, you see in Spain and Portugal, that's when the Spanish Inquisition started. Basically, in a nutshell, since the Israelites and Judah, they were all scattered. They were scattered in parts of Europe and parts of Africa and Mideast. The ones that were in Spain and Portugal, they fell victim to the Spanish Inquisition, because basically the Spanish Inquisition was saying, get down and lay down with the Catholic Church. So you're going to give up your way that you follow with Yah. You're going to do our brand of Christianity. Many of the Israelites, they left Spain, they're excommunicated. They were going through Africa, mainly Western Africa. This is where the transatlantic slave trade started, with Islam and Europe actually enslaving these people who were wandering, who were scattered. These are the people that were put on the slave ships and taken to the Americas, Caribbean, South America, Central America, who we may identify as African American, but other people, who are of the same culture. They came from mainly this group of people. So it was people who did not follow Yah. Islam wasn't in the mix. The Catholic Church was in the mix, and other what are known as Hamites, other peoples who did not follow Yah, revere his ways, were in the mix as well, targeted these people. This is the bulk of where the transatlantic slave trade, the source of the manpower, came from. So I'm just dropping us a little bit of knowledge. You can go back and look at all this stuff here. Again, for the sake of brevity, I'm not going to get really into the weeds, but give you just enough. If you care, you can go look it up and search and research on your own. So this now fast forwards to what we deal with today. Because the thing that I find usually very frustrating is whenever I hear any people or any sides talking about the plight of black people, mainly in America, is that so many people say, black people, they deserve to get ran over. They're lazy. They're prone to violence. I usually hear that one side because they feel they have enjoyed the Kool-Aid that was taught to them by society. Because you always remember that science backed racism up. The evolutionary theory was taught in universities for centuries, just about unchallenged. There was no real preservation or real need, no want to actually teach this. People will talk about one side where we are the product of it's a social captivity, because there's also many receipts in American history now where there were prominent black townships that were ransacked, that were burned down, flooded on the bottom of lakes, because this is part of the curse. I understand when you hear this, you're not going to like it. The thing is, you're not going to like all of the answers that are presented to you. Because this right here, what I just read from Deuteronomy 28, is a major piece of history that so many people do not learn. There's a lot of Christians that go to church and they claim to know the book, but they skim over these things. They don't make the correlation. So when you can identify who these people are, you can now identify certain peoples who say they are, but they are not. Because you don't understand proper history, you're going to be doomed to repeat it, and you're going to actually follow the wrong people or go down the wrong path because you deny what's in the book, because whatever reason you may have, you could just not accept it, because you may not just have learned about it and you're slowly learning about it. Either way, for the time being, all this is here, and I'm just trying to compile it and bring it to you. Now, for the other side of the argument, there are many people who would argue that Black people just need to pull themselves up by the bootstraps, stop claiming victim mentality. But when I see many different incidents, attempts for Black people to actually unify in the right way, they get chopped down by external forces. Just as identified in the scriptures that I read, you will always be trodden under people. You will always be lower and lower and lower. They'll be risen higher and higher and higher. You will be the tail and not the head. Unfortunately, this is prophecy, has been prophecy fulfilled. Only a certain set of peoples meet those requirements of who that is. Now, the good thing about this is that you can use the book as a legitimate historical source and prophetic source of what the history of the world was and what's coming in the future. I don't want you to think that just because you may be someone and you could be proven to be 80%, even 100% Hebrew, that doesn't matter in the eyes of Yah, because the reason why these Israelites, full-blooded Israelites, fell into this because they rejected him. When Yahushua HaMashiach was here, many Israelites, not all of them, many of them, mainly led by the Sadducees and the Pharisees, they took upon that curse on themselves. They said they'd rather let Barabbas, a known violent person, they were willing to let him free and have Pontius Pilate, the governor at the time in that section, basically kill Yahushua HaMashiach. And they said, let whatever curses happen by us killing the Messiah, let it fall on us, on our children, and our children's children. I get it. It's not fair. It is not fair. When you know Yahuwah's character, you understand why he does certain things. Now, yes, many things could have been different. He's like, this is not fair. You see, this is why I don't follow Yahuwah, because why would I follow a bloodthirsty God? You have to understand his character. And I'm going to say it sucks. It does suck. That's the answer to it. The thing is, certain things have to happen for his people to come back to him. What matters is that you submit to him again. And the only way to submit to Yahuwah is through Yahushua HaMashiach, the very one who these people condemned, that put a good amount of us in this position. We have to go to him. So you could be full-blooded Hebrew, but if you do not accept Yahushua and his ways and submit to him, you're going to be just like everyone else who doesn't accept Yahuwah, because that is the only requirement that Yahuwah has to come to him, is through Yahushua HaMashiach, and submit to him and understand the ways of life and understand what love is. But you have to understand his ways too. He has a lot of mercy, which many people won't think so, but you wouldn't think that if you don't read. Unfortunately, we were cut down all the time because the time had to pass, prophecy had to be fulfilled, and these other people in the world who jumped on a bandwagon were stomping down on Black people, the bloodline of the Israelites, the Hebrew. If they have not turned from him, they're going to have their judgment too. It may not be judgment the way we want it, how we want it, when we want it, but it's going to be judgment. When you leave out the book, then you're basically just babbling foolishness. When you leave out the book, you're basically holding on to your pride and straight ignorance. You need the book to clarify things, to know where we came from, why this happened to us, what's going to happen. But you don't have to be an Hebrew, a Black person, African American, or whatever, of Caribbean descent or whatever, to partake in the blessings that Yahuwah has for us. Follow Yahushua HaMashiach. Remember, he's the way. He is the way to go forward. Anyways, you can catch more of my content on my website at brooklynbaritone.com. You can also catch more of my video content on my YouTube channel, Brooklyn Baritone. I'm on LinkedIn. I'm also on Facebook and on Instagram. You can also get the audio version of these podcasts on Google Play, Amazon Music, and Apple Music on the podcast. I also air on local Brooklyn cable television 4 times a week, on Tuesdays and Thursdays at 12 a.m. and 2 p.m. on Verizon, Optimum, Spectrum, and RCN. All right. Thank you guys again for listening. Be blessed to walk good. You'll hear from me in the future.